Welcome to Connect with Christina. With me is my dear friend, Shelby Tuttle.
Hello.
So, through the grapevines, I heard that you are working on a very, very special project, and I can't wait to hear all about it.
Yeah, so I have been in the process of developing a program for moms. It's a 3-month program, and my goal with this is to help moms who are struggling with feelings of anger, stress, guilt. As a mom yourself, I think you can maybe relate to this, but moms that struggle with these feelings and help them manage their emotional triggers and help to implement positive discipline strategies, because a lot of times our past childhood experiences affect our ability and how we parent. And so the program is really just specifically targeting those feelings around anger, because I honestly don't think that it's really talked about enough. I think there's a lot of talk around postpartum depression and things like that, which is definitely a real thing, but I just don't think that anger, the feeling of anger is
Acknowledged.
it's not as acknowledged. And I think it's important to highlight that with motherhood.
Well, we're definitely going to use the platform to reach the moms, the new moms, and moms who've had 3 like me, or single moms. I mean, really, all the situations are different, but all the moms can go through things that, like you said, have never been addressed before. Just because that guilt too, just because you feel some type of way, you feel like, wait, am I a bad mom? For thinking this way. But dial that in for us though. First of all, why did you start this again? Just have you been thinking about it?
I mean, a lot of it stems from me having a child. So
a very cute one.
Thank you. So I had him in 2021, and I was definitely supported. I was supported by my family and by his dad, and there was people around me, but there were times where I didn't feel supported when I was feeling anger and frustration when I was alone with my son. And so I didn't even really think of what was going on in that time, because I had a newborn and you don't really have time to think anyways. And so it wasn't until he was probably a year and a half. And I remember it was honestly the pivotal point of why I wanted to do this and why I became even more passionate about helping moms. Is we were at my house, it was just him and I, and he was having some kind of meltdown or tantrum about something, right? He's not even 2 yet. So it was something, whether it was a toy or he couldn't have a snack. I don't remember specifically the problem, but it was to the point where I sent him to the stairs for a timeout. And I was just go sit on the stairs, because I was fed up. And, there was a lack of listening and things like that. And so I did what my parents did with me, which was go stand in the corner, or they used more traditional parenting methods, occasional spanking or timeouts, go be by yourself when you experience these harder emotions. And basically when I went to go talk to him on the stairs, I got on his level and I was I think I said something do you know why you're on the stairs or something like that? I'm questioning him. I'm do you know my mommy put you on the stairs? And he's just blankly staring at me, and he's and I'm it's I'm looking for him to be able to have the ability to be oh yeah, mom, sorry, because I did this, so that's why I'm on the stairs. Obviously, a 1.5-year-old can't reason with you at all. And so I think in that moment, I'm there has to be other ways to get through to him besides sending him off.
Right.
And so that's when I became really curious, and I started to do my own research, and I started to follow a bunch of people that go over parenting strategies and influencers, and just there's so much information out there. Even that alone can get overwhelming,
right?
Because you don't want to mess up,
right? And there is definitely a lot. You want to make sure you're also following the right ones.
Yeah, exactly. It's the credibility and what their background is and things like that. And so that was really when I started to hone in and research. And I also became a part of a parenting program where I learned even more about the science behind child development and what they're capable of, and it really eased my parenting environment in a way when I started to understand a little more of where all these things were coming from.
I know my mind's like going so many directions too because I have so many questions on that. But I feel like, because I do a lot of shout outs on the show, shout outs to mom, because that's one of the biggest blessings ever. It's you go through a lot physically, mentally, emotionally, and yet life expects you to just jump right back in. So it's nice to have people that are passionate about providing the support, resources for moms. I mean, even on the physical side, like I barely learned about pelvic floor, all these things that were not available to us.
Exactly.
But a big component is definitely like, emotional, mental. And then you just talked about like the science behind it. So what does that look like? Like who are you trying to find so that I can get them to find you because they need you? Like what are the signs that maybe they should call you?
Okay, so like what are you kind of like looking out for or hearing and things like that? Yeah, that's a good question because I also like have to look out for those things too. And so when I hear moms talk about, well, my kid never listens, and well, they never, like, my kids don't share, or they're hitting each other, or they're doing this. Like, it is a lot of talk around the behavior of the child, but with the behavior of the child comes with the mom's reactions to those behaviors. And so, like, when I hear moms being frustrated with whining, not listening, hitting, biting, screaming, not sharing with their sibling, like, things like that, I always get curious. And that's the thing that this journey has kind of taught me too, is to get curious about why these behaviors are happening and not place judgment on the mom's reactions either. So I think a lot of it's the behavioral talk, but there's always like underlying reasons. So I imagine that if moms are fed up and they're frustrated with even like kids not going to sleep, like not taking naps and not having time for themselves and constantly trying to get their kids to listen, there's a reason why the child is probably not listening.
So I like that. So you're not like just trying to band-aid a problem. You're trying to find the source and like to try to treat the actual problem.
No,
right?
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I think to your point, and everyone will probably agree, it's like, I mean, we all try to do the best we can. Every one of us is raised differently, and that shapes who we are. So I think even for myself, like I constantly want to improve. I just had a nice one-on-one talk with my Leilani on the beach in Manhattan Beach, where we were kind of talking about that, like even things that had I known today, I would have changed,
Yeah.
But again, and that it goes deep too, because like obviously I've had issues. Everyone does, like growing up and things like that. And it wasn't until later in life where I forgave my mom, but now I fully understand her, like completely. But to your point, and that's a whole different subject. But to your point though, it does impact the way you raise your own children, the way you yourself were raised. And then you go back and figure, oh my God, that's how my mom was raised and her mom's mom,
Yeah. No, yeah, to speak on that a little bit, that's where when I heard myself, how I was sounding to my son, I was like, I don't really value that. Like, I don't align with that. I don't want to parent my son in the same way that I was parented. And that's no disrespect or, anything to my parents, because they were great and like they did what they knew to do from their parents.
Correct.
But I'm just like more determined now to stop that pattern, because I know like what I'm doing is going to be a true reflection of how my son grows up and how he eventually treats his own kids. And the only way to do that is to acknowledge what's happening and then be able to put at least a pause or, a soft stop to it. This isn't perfect, and people that go through the program, the expectation for them just to change overnight in 3 months and like be fine. No, like it takes so much practice and work and constant,
habits, all the things. But also ultimately that person, that you're able to help is going to be part of this community. So on a larger scale, it's like creating better people for our community too. Yeah. And then, but I think you do that one mom at a time with their kid. Yeah. So why the 3 months again?
That's just how that's how I feel I can get the most amount of information into what will benefit them the most. And that's also just the strategy that I'm following. But it's going to be a 3-month program that it's going to be group coaching.
Okay.
And so it'll be, a weekly coaching call. They'll have resources for life as far as like the worksheets and reflections, and they'll also be able to like interact in their own little like cohort. So I do want to build that community and have like women supported, and so it helps so much. Yeah, to support each other, because a lot of these feelings around anger and guilt are so prevalent, and it's not all women are comfortable talking about it. And so if you are hearing other women that are facing the same struggles and like going through the same thing, they're going to be more likely to be willing to share their own situations and like their stories. So I want them to feel like they have someone else also to be like, what did you do when this happened? Or I'm about to lose my shit. So
yeah.
Can you like talk me how like you navigated through like this kind of situation?
Well, and plus, for new moms especially, but even for moms, having 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter, because each kid is also unique. Each child is different.
Yeah.
So it's, every situation, every pregnancy is different.
Yeah.
So to have the ability to come to you and kind of say, hey, like, I need a little help here. And then that accountability, I feel like, because that's what sounds like your program's going to do is, hold them accountable.
Yeah, it's like, when you're showing up, you're going to be showing up with 4, 5, 6 other women, that want to also change or get something out of it.
Going back to our moms though, right? Moms are like superheroes and warriors, and really like think about it. So when they're pregnant, they go through a lot. And then the very delivery, they go through a lot after. And obviously, like, I think that more and more it's a topic of like the postpartum, where that was like a shameful thing. It shouldn't be. You that's like something that you need to just acknowledge, accept, own it, because oh my God, you just gave life. Like what else? What greater thing can you do, right? But your body goes through a lot, and then the physical aspects of that. Like that's why sometimes it's fun to see like the memes you see where it's like the moms, are wearing the stretch marks proud and like, I earned this, these are my stripes. Yeah. But that comes with a lot of what you're trying to provide support to, of being able to like give back to themselves too and go through this.
Because I feel just from my experience too, like you can feel supported, but you can also feel very alone. And especially around like the feelings that you kind of feel shameful of having.
I like that. And so if you're feeling that way, this is the girl you need to call.
And I just want to create something that I didn't necessarily know existed, or I'm sure like there's tons of resources, right, and people out there, doing this, but I think my program will be unique in the fact that, not only am I a mom, but I am finishing up my master's in social work and mental health, and so I'm also able to kind of intertwine some of the...
That was my next question, was to really share your background.
My bachelor's in psychology, I dabbled in some child development, and I honestly, at the time, wasn't utilizing. I was like, I'm never going to use this. And then like 7,000 years later, I'm like, oh, I can actually pull from this education. But I knew I wanted to be in a helping profession. And so I went back to school for my master's in social work, focusing on mental health and becoming a therapist and things like that. And then when I became a mom, my passion shifted again and was like, ooh, like I want to help other moms that have similar experiences to me and be able to reach these people that feel, because you almost don't know there's a problem until you know there's a problem. Like, I feel like I went through like the first part of motherhood not even realizing anything, and then it wasn't until like a little bit later on. But I feel like if it's out there and people know about you and know what you do, maybe in those...
And to let that be okay. It's like, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And this is the help you can get.
Kind of normalize anger and like normalize guilt and like, and exactly, like let them know it's going to be...
You're going to feel it.
Yeah.
You're going to go through it.
Now that you feel it, like what are you going to do with it now? And that, goes back into how they were when they were a child and attachment styles and things like that. So it's pretty like intensive, the program itself. But yeah, I'm super excited. So I'll start accepting like beta clients with my program probably mid-September time, end of September, where I'll accept like 3 to 5 clients that want to come into my program for half the cost, which that'll be determined at a later time. So to get the feedback from these people, dive into the program, what they like about it, what they don't like, so I can tweak it to the best of my ability to make sure that I am providing value and things that they are really like yearning for.
And I'm super excited because we just sat recently at a Starbucks on Gilbert and Southern, right? And this was not even a thing yet, and that was recent. So, and why I'm excited about that is I can see it in your face that you're super excited, and that's really when the magic happens, is when you're passionate about something. And obviously, we just said there's a lot of moms out there that could really use the support. That's what it is, support.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for you.
No, yeah, I am too. And definitely, like there's something that clicks in your brain when you realize that you're doing something that doesn't feel like work. And I honestly never thought that was gonna be me. I was like, I get people that exist, but I just didn't really put that on me as an expectation. Like I hope I find something that I like to do and like I'm passionate about it. But to have it fall in this way and like how it's kind of developing, I'm just like, yes, finally.
I know, that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
I think that, you'll be able to help a lot of women. But have you done your survey on how many people in Arizona are giving birth every month? Let's look that up, Justin, and pop it in here. Tristan will fact check it.
No, yeah, that's honestly a great point. Obviously, there's a lot of babies happening.
And I said this to you in the beginning, but like really, if for anyone who might be listening, or if they know someone, their sister, their own mom having another baby, their best friend, like remind us again, what are the like key factors to think about, and then calling you for it.
Yeah, so thinking about their frustrations just with parenting in general. So thinking about what they're saying as far as how they're navigating parenthood. I mean, I even hear some people say that I don't want to parent this way, but I don't know how else to change. I don't know any other skill. And that's what really motivated me to focus specifically on like feelings of anger and things, because growing up, I wasn't taught a skill to manage anger and frustration. And so my reactions to things are impulsive and automatic. And this program aims to help manage those triggers. And yeah, any moms like speaking on any level of lack of patience, frustration, really anything stemming from their children's behaviors that
which they carry. They carry it throughout the day, to their work, to their other family, like to people they, contact with, because it does. Like you kind of, it stays with you.
Yeah, like bruising you, and then and that's the thing, like it stays with you, and then say you're working all day and you're still like thinking about how your kid did X, Y, Z, and when you
how you feel bad about how you
reacted. Yeah.
And then you get to bleed on people who didn't cut you. You can't do that. That's why you need Shelby.
And that's like a lot of, that's perfect. Because like you're honestly like, in a way, taking things out on your kid who like literally does not know any skills to manage any emotion. So like to even understand a child's capacity in itself of like their brain development and how they can't reason, they can't think logically, they hit because they're mad, things like that. Even that alone like puts so much ease in your parenting, because you can understand where your kid is coming from and act out of curiosity, not like reactions.
So off subject, I have a 1-year-old Frenchie. I love you, Pierre. My Prince Pierre. Anyway, I wanted a boy, first of all, but I have 3 girls, beautiful, perfect girls. Now I know why. I was meant to have a boy dog. And here he is. Anyway, but I told the girls, I'm like, hey, like, remember he's forever 2. So if he makes any type of mess or mistake, he's forever 2 years old.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, but even just saying that out loud helped me, like, be more patient. Like, it's okay, Pierre. Really, he can do anything because I love him. But.
You're like, you can get away with anything that you want.
Yeah, but also Leilani will be watching this, my oldest, and she came to mind because she's so great at communication. One skill that I'm still learning now and probably will forever be learning because it's not my strongest thing. Leilani though, like she's just even taught me like to speak to people in a way where they feel heard. Where that they feel seen, heard, that they know that their opinion or words or emotions are valued. And I think that even for moms who feel alone because they want to do a great job and maybe feel like they're going to burden their parents or that they want their parents to think they're doing a good job, you know? All those things. So now they have you to turn to.
I want to mention something because through my education with therapy and things like that, you learn active listening and reflective listening and how to make someone feel heard and seen. So like you said, for the moms that don't want to voice things because they feel like they'd be a burden or like put it on someone else. There's skills that you can learn on how to address your needs in a way that is clear and concise and hopefully like lessens the guilt, lessens the shame. And so that's actually you just gave me a good idea of like a module to implement into this because I myself too, I have to practice communication and like nonviolent communication. I do it with my partner. I try to do it with my son and with everyone really. Communication is huge. Well,
for example, when I'm mad, I just shut down. And both Kevin and Leilani, they don't let me do that. They're like, no, you can have your moment.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's been helpful because what happens with me is I will, you know, and you don't want to be passive aggressive. And I think I've been I've done that like a lot through my life. And I think, I'm trying to be a good person. But then really I'm shoving it all down and I'm just like not dealing with the issue. So then what happens is when it wants to, and it will, the time will come when it erupts and then now you blow up.
Yeah.
Right? So I no longer want to have to do those things because I've done that, like I said, my whole life where I'll take it and then boom, you're done.
Yeah.
As opposed to talking.
Yeah. And that reminds me of...
That I need you as a therapist? Okay.
Yes. You know, I don't know if you were parented in this way, but when we are like sent to timeouts or like go stand in the corner and basically like we're sent away when we are feeling angry and sad. And those feelings, like we really need support the most. We don't want to be alone in those feelings.
That is so true.
Yeah, and so I think that when people do shut down, like you're saying, that's just we were kind of taught to just bottle it up and not talk about it and not feel validated that we can even feel that, you know? And so I try to work on that with my son where it's like, I can see when he gets frustrated and mad, like he displays it through his body and he's just like, and then he'll like smack something. Like my initial reactions were like, no, like we don't do that. Like we don't hit, you know, because he slapped me in the face before. And my reactions are like, excuse me, you know, like, but when I think about it differently and I'm like, I just like swallow my pride and I'm just like, and I like either redirect him and because he doesn't know what he's truly doing, or I try to respond in a way it's tricky. Like the verbiage is so hard to,
and it's like, key though.
It is like all your words matter.
Yeah. And a little 25-year-old somewhere in Las Vegas has that down.
That's
I'm
awesome.
telling you, like,
I think it's a gift.
Yeah. Leilani, I'm such a fan. But it's like, but really, like, to be able to communicate in that way, where you still can express your feelings.
Yeah.
But you have the ability to allow that space for someone else, and then you both like fix it.
Yeah, and going back to this program, it's being able to also create that space for someone else, because if you can't create that space within yourself because you can't manage your feelings of anger and frustration, you are going to have a tougher time allowing your kid to express anger and frustration and your fuse is going to be a lot shorter because you're not regulated. And I've been learning that.
And I feel like too for moms, because obviously like there's different ages, right? So for me personally, I love that I had my girls younger because I got to do kind of a lot of things and like continue to do those things. And, you know, when I'm still vibrant and I can, you know, just really make or spend a lot of quality time with them that way. But there's also moms that are having babies at a later age. So I was 21, so I was a kid myself. And that's, you know, you should acknowledge that. And then I have a wonderful friend, Carissa, who I want to say she didn't have Tiny until 35. And when we would go to brunch, I was floored. Like, I was so amazed at the way she talked to her. Because this little tiny person, like, I don't know, I guess because like I was still like, I was so young, you know, and I did the best I could. And that's why I always say Leilani also raised me. Like, that's our thing. And there's a way to talk to kids and to like in a respectful, loving way when you're disciplining them. And so I just feel like you should also acknowledge the fact that it's okay. You're young, you're a new mom, that's okay. Now there's help for you. And then, and that goes both ways. Like if you're older, you're set in your ways.
Yeah, exactly.
You need your, you know.
Yeah, like the two extremes.
Right.
Basically,
you said it earlier that moms, you know, we can feel alone, and that's true. And again, acknowledging that loneliness, I think, is key, and that's why you're here. And I think you're going to do really well in this space.
Thank you.
Yeah. How can people get a hold of you?
People can reach me through my Instagram, so it's just Shelbs556. It's pretty noticeable as far as what I'm posting because my videos are geared towards what I'm doing. So yeah, and then of course Facebook, and you can find links to all of my social media accounts through my Instagram anyways.
Well, and it's fun to have you here now in the beginning of your company because obviously I know you're going to do great things. So as things move, you know, and you're adding more things to the company, we'll just have you back on.
No, I would love that. I'm like, I want to know how my own journey turns out also.
Yes.
I want to mention too, on my Linktree in my social media, I put up like free resources also. Like I've created a few guides on managing anger, managing triggers, just like things to look out for, just to give people an idea of what we cover in a general nutshell, just not going, you know, obviously super in depth with the topic, but it at least gives them a starting point of what maybe to start saying or doing just to help themselves.
I just thought of the fact that like young moms, there's pros and cons. I mean, in general, it's all a happy thing, being a mom. Having babies, that's a miracle. It's a beautiful thing, right? But there are pros and cons to being younger, being older. I mean, now really they don't encourage you or they try to discourage you past what, 35? Is that still the thing?
That's the last I've heard.
So, I mean, one of those would be like when you're younger, you're more energetic, right? But then when you're older, you're more patient. So, but there's always going to be the gap. And I think where you fit is that gap. Ooh, that's good.
And that is good. Nice. No, I love that.
But no, super excited for you, Shelby. And we can't wait to have you back on for the moms, especially with her beta program. Please hit her up. If you have a friend, sister, mom, whatever, just send her to Shelby. And, you know, let's get you guys feeling more supported, getting the help you deserve. So Shelby, thank you for coming on to Connect with Christina. Bye.